Montana. I like it. All right, let's keep it going to a good friend of mine. Please give a round of applause for Mike Nieves.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. Glad we still got a lot of people out here, even though it's spring break. Everyone's all nice and quiet and sitting and looking up here. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I know you've all been watching the news, I'm sure. You know, a lot happening these days. We got Trayvon Martin in the news, that made the news. There was actually some young black man who wasn't shot by the cops this time. It just made huge national headlines. And it was pretty shocking, honestly, because the rest of us, you know, who've been in the area thought that by now everyone in Florida and down south had figured out, if you want to kill a black guy, you just have to call the cops and tell them that he's stealing from you. You don't have to follow and do it yourself. Like, why is this even an issue anymore, you know? They know what they're doing, man. I mean, if you're going to be this Raymond Zimmerman guy and you're stalking someone and talking to 911 at the time, telling them, they're saying, don't follow this guy, hang out. He's like, oh, I'm going to follow him. I'm going to come off and get him. You ever think, maybe if you're going to be hunting someone with the intent of killing him, maybe don't call 911, you know? If you're going to be relying on the stand your ground defense, maybe just fucking stand your ground. I don't know, seems a little fucking crazy. I know we couldn't really do that here in Montana, though. We try to do the stand your ground defense, but the problem with the stand your ground defense is it really only requires one person left alive afterwards. So there's still not a whole lot of incentive for you to not shoot to kill at that point. And somewhere in Montana, I feel like, where everyone is armed at that point. I mean, a lot of us feel like, we'll just take the law in my own hands. You can have a lot of people walking around, 2 a.m., $100 bills sticking out of their back of their pocket with a couple of concealed weapons. I'm feeling real threatened around here. Feeling pretty threatened right now. But, you know, I haven't always wanted to come out and be a comedian. You know, when I was a kid, I thought I wanted to do stand-up comedy for a while. I used to listen to a lot of Bill Cosby tapes. That was the first thing I bought with my allowance when I was a kid. We all listened to Bill Cosby. I don't know, buck, we all got those same memories. So, you know, I'd been listening to him for about a couple months then, and I had gone out to a show with my dad, and it was mostly music that was up there. There was a stand-up comedian up there, and this guy was your typical bar stand-up comedian, you know. Man, that guy who had such a huge dick got me last night, man. All this, you know, pussy jokes and everything you can think of on there. And at the end of that, you know, we're going home and we're sitting there in the car. And I don't know why, but I'm just thinking, you know, stand-up comedy is stand-up comedy. And I've still got Bill Cosby in my head. I'm like, Dad, I think I know what I want to be now. And he looks over at me and he's like, you know, what are you talking about? You know, I just went out and saw this musical performance and stand-up comedian. I'm like, well, I think I want to be a stand-up comedian, Dad. I could totally do that. Absolutely. You know, everyone was up there and laughing at him. And it wasn't even really that funny, and he was so popular. My dad, you know, trying to be supportive, just smiling. Yeah, that sounds great. In a couple days, I go back into my room, like, God, I could really use some Bill Cosby. I go digging on through my shelves. Can't find a single fucking stand-up cassette anywhere in the goddamn house. Not a single fucking place. No stand-up. No. So I don't know how many of you out there play video games. Obviously, I play a lot of video games. So stop by looking at me. Now, we all love video games. And when you play a video game, you gotta choose your gamer tag. You know, that's supposed to be what's gonna represent you every time you shoot someone with a virtual gun and crouch up and down on their face to try and make them feel bad about themselves. So I used to think I hate those guys who made those gamer tags that are like, I'm gonna get you sucker 86, or you know, suck on my leg 98. And I'd be like, damn it, why you gotta make such ridiculous names that I gotta stare at every time you kill me because I suck at this and you're awesome at this and just killing me? I don't understand it. And then one day, you know, I guess someone must have thought, well, I'll just make an honest gamer tag, I guess. And I got, you know, I finally got a kill in one of these games, in Modern Warfare. And I'm like, you know, gloating over this, and I'm looking over, and this kid's name is like, this is all I've got, 87. And suddenly I feel really bad. I don't really want to play anymore. And you know, we all get stoned when we're playing video games. We like to just sit there and watch it, lets us, you know, zone out. But for some reason, we feel like those of us who like to sit around and get stoned a lot and play video games, like, that we make really, really good spokespeople for the movement. And you know, if I just had a minute to sit down with someone over my peanut butter and gummy bear sandwich, wearing my Transformers t-shirt, and talk to them about the politics of medical marijuana, I'm sure they'd come over to our side. Come on over and sit down with all my 18 and 19-year-old friends who are just blazed off of their asses, and I'm going to go into the history of how William Randolph Hearst started a huge smear campaign against marijuana. And you know, even though I agree with all of this stuff, I understand it, I know what's going on, but just sitting there listening to someone wearing a Transformers t-shirt with their mouth full of peanut butter and gummy bears trying to tell me like, dude, it's just a fucking conspiracy, man. It's like suddenly I'm like, man, I don't know if I believe this anymore. Well, that's my time there. I'm Mike Nieves. Thank you all. You've been an awesome audience. Have a great night.